Hi, I'm Gandalf Clark.
I'm Ellen Clark.
And
we're the Clarks.
Hey everyone, happy July 4th. Today's my birthday. And it's also the birthday of our country, which is in a lot of trouble right now. We have women dying. We have a higher mortality rate in states that have decided not to allow abortion under any circumstances. And in those states, you can't even get a DNC. That will kill the mother, or make it so that she can't have more babies. They're jailing women for having miscarriages. Yeah, we're in a lot of trouble here. This is all Trump's doing. You may think that Biden has something to do with it, but he doesn't. Just like he doesn't have anything to do with gas prices or anything like that. The fact is, it doesn't matter how badly he did on the debate. He's still a better choice than Trump. Trump is an evil moron who has every intention of becoming a dictator on day one. Keep that in mind when you go to the polls. And vote blue. There's a lot of people out there who apparently want a dictatorship or laugh at it like it's not actually going to happen or something, but that is going to happen if Trump becomes president, and you should look up Project 2025 and be more concerned about that than the debate. It's the evil white Christian nationalists. They need to be stopped. We need to stop them. And the only way to do that peacefully is to vote. And if something like January 6th happens again, I honestly think the police officers should start firing guns at people. I don't understand how so many people are getting away with what they did on January 6th. If Trump gets in office, he's going to pardon all those assholes. And they'll be back out on the street. Ready to stop Trump from being removed from office in 4 years. And Trump isn't going to have a vice president that will actually sign off on giving the country to the next president. That's not going to happen. He will never leave office. And when he dies, he'll probably appoint his son. The one that's not a complete moron. It's a scary time to live in the U.S., but it's also a scary time to live in the world. My wife told me that even in the UK, there's a very right-leaning prime minister. And that's scary. Canada's scary. Mexico is scary. And honestly, this country is supposed to be the safest place to live. But with Trump in charge, we're going to lose Medicaid. I'm going to lose my job as Ellen's healthcare provider, because Trump will probably make that illegal and make people have to get a job whether they have disability or not. He will take away disability. He will take away Medicaid. He will take away everything that's good. He will destroy this country, just like he did right before the pandemic. What do you think he'll do? He'll probably fire the pandemic response team. If there is a pandemic response team now, which I'm not sure if there is, he'll fire them. He wants chaos. He wants people to get sick. He wants people to die. That's what he wants. Okay? Pro-life doesn't care about anybody. They want babies to be born so they can raise them to be soldiers so they can die in battle. My right-leaning half-sister once told me, and this is why we're not close, she once told me back during the Bush administration that I would be drafted, and because of the fact that I have disabilities, they put me on the front line. My half-sister's a moron. She's a Trumper. We don't talk. I don't talk to my half-brother for the same reason. I was never close to him anyway, but to her I actually was close at one time, but I can't be now. I can't be close to anyone who thinks Trump is the right person for president, or even someone who says, oh, Trump is not that bad. Because I had a friend a while back that said Trump is not that bad. We're not friends anymore. for many reasons. He was also anti-LGBTQ, a Russian Orthodox Christian. It just wasn't going to work out. He was headed in a different direction, and he was my best friend for 16 years. But sometimes you have to say goodbye to people if they're bad for you or bad for your country. I know I should be happy today, especially since I just found out I can cook my steak rare again. I didn't know that was a thing until yesterday. My wife told me. And one of our closest friends, the head of our writing team for Battalion 13, sent me a nice gift today, which I used. And it was very nice, and I wasn't expecting it. And it was just, it makes my heart feel warm when I don't have to ask people to get me a gift like I used to when I was a kid, when I was so greedy. I used to ask people for all kinds of things, but I don't ask people for gifts anymore. But she just gave me money. And that's just amazing. Especially since we're so tight right now. But it's really nice to have friends who will do stuff like that for you without even being asked. That's a true friend. Other things going on besides the country going to shit and everything. We are still working on all of our books. We have a Christmas Chronicles anthology called The Yule Logs, Battalion 13 The Yule Logs, which will have many writers and stories in it. They're supposed to be short stories, but I think they're like 30 to 48 pages each or something like that. It's a lot, but they're not books, but they're not actually really short stories. But they're going to be it's going to be a fun compilation of stories, and that's supposed to be coming out before Christmas this year. The Anthology of Hope, which is going to be called Two Better Days, is going to have some things related to the main universe of Battalion 13. Darian's cousin, Trevor, who is a half-white, half-black baseball player. The story is called Fastball, but the first story you'll see him in is when he's young, in 1987, and he's going to be the guy telling the story of the scavenger hunt, which is an interesting story. I don't want to get too into it, but we've worked very hard on these stories, and we hope to bring them out before sometime. Probably the Two Better Days is probably coming out sometime early next year. And then there's The Immortal. That is the big one. That is the one that we've been working on for so long. It's the one that the podcast is based on, or it's actually based on the web series / podcast. And that one is my baby. That was the one I've been working on so hard every time I get a chance to, which is usually once a week if nothing else is going on. But we have some writers who are also working on that. The head of our writing team is also working on her parts. And then my wife and one of our editors is also going to be working on some stuff for it. But probably will be out late 2025, early 2026. I'm hoping for late 2025, but we got to get it right before we put it out. It's going to be an amazing story. There's a lot of new scenes that were not in the podcast. And as far as the podcast goes, I am still working on the last episode. We found someone to play the role of Madeline. We think we found someone to play the role of Emerson. And we found someone to play the role of Weston. Those were the three voices we need to complete the project. I'll be getting the computer back up and running with all that data on it, so that I can use Cubase and put everything together, and then we'll send it to our music guy, or we'll find a way to score it if the music guy is unable to do it, or maybe we'll release it without any music. I mean, that's a possibility too. I'd hate to do it, but I mean, there's always royalty-free music, so I'm going to try to do music of some sort. But I think that you guys are going to really enjoy those stories, and we're also going to be setting up our Story Rocket page as soon as we're done the podcast to see if we can get the attention of somebody who might want to make a movie or TV show out of our story, which would be fantastic and would probably set us up for life. But The Immortal is not the end of the story. There's going to be books that take place after The Immortal. There's going to be a book series that takes place before The Immortal. That's going to cover the characters when they were in high school. That one's going to be called The Witch. And it's going to be a very interesting story that my wife and I are mainly going to be writing. And some of the stuff is based on experiences we both had, and some of the stuff is just imagination, or possibly real in another dimension. So there's that. Remember, these stories are based on actual events in another dimension. With that, I leave you. Have a good 4th, and if you're going to set off fireworks tonight, make sure you keep your dogs inside. Bye bye.